Welcome, everybody, to the Gate Expectations podcast, where I bring in a weekly guest, talk all things Yu-Gi-Oh, and get to know a little more about each person I talk to. This is the only Yu-Gi-Oh podcast that is run by a full-fledged journalist such as myself. This is episode 14. If you haven't checked it out yet, you can check out earlier podcasts with guests like Steven Trifanowski, Jesse Cotton, Team Samurai X1, Doug Zeef, Cody Angeloff, and many more. My guest for this week has a YouTube channel, and he is a huge Yu-Gi-Tuber with almost 78,000 subscribers. He has over 34,000 Twitch followers, and is arguably one of the most comedic Yu-Gi-Tubers, and is the current Yu-Gi-Tuber Grand Champion. It's Nadeau Mizuni, a.k.a. Farfa. Farfa, thank you so much for coming on to my podcast.
No problem. I just want to correct you really quick. It's actually a two-time Yu-Gi-Tuber Grand Championship in a row.
Yes, you know what? I did see that too, and I was going to mention you. I know you're two-time, but you're also the current as well.
Yes.
So thanks again for coming on, by the way. There's a big time difference between us, considering you're all the way out in Scotland, and I'm here in Canada, so it's about a 5-hour difference. I actually had it mixed up before where I thought it was, for some reason, 7 hours, and sorry I had to reschedule on that little mishap on my part.
That's okay. Like, on the plus side, like, you get to be closer to Triff and Jesse. So, who's the real winner here?
Yeah, that is fair. They're only about an hour and a half drive away from where I live. So they're not too far off. And I've had the pleasure of being able to do both of them.
Yeah, awesome.
So, I mean, you're right now probably one of the most popular YouTubers that are out there right now. And you put a lot more of a comedic twist on a lot of your videos. Like, where did that all start from?
I think my channel's had a big transformation multiple times over the years. Since the very beginning, it's always been it's been a long time, and it's been kind of hard to really settle into a niche and settle into an identity. And maybe that's just the process of content creation in general. But I'm pretty happy where I'm at just now. In the end, I think the way I make videos is basically I don't really make videos anymore for the sake of making videos. My focus right now, my primary objective really is Twitch, and that's kind of what I care about most is my community on Twitch and my regular followers and subscribers on Twitch. That's really what means the most to me right now. And YouTube really just feels like a hobby at the moment. And I guess I've made it a goal to hit 100K and get that plaque sometime soon. Doing pretty decently. Got 7,700 subs in September, so it's slowly getting there. But for the identity and the content creation side, I feel it's just mostly it's the way I make videos is basically what do I like? What videos do I enjoy watching? What do I like? And where do I get my enjoyment from when I watch YouTube from? Because I don't really watch a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh YouTube at all, actually. Very little. Anything Yu-Gi-Oh related I actually just do on stream. I don't actually do that much outside of my stream. It's literally just all in on Twitch. Because it feels like you're separating your work and your hobby a little bit. So anything I watch and all the media I consume for other games I watch, other niches, other circles and spheres that I enjoy on YouTube that are outside of Yu-Gi-Oh! I watch content creators from those kind of areas, and then I ask myself, what do I like about them? What is it about their content that keeps me coming back? And that's kind of what I enjoy most is, and I try and emulate it. So right now I've went with shorter videos, which I think is a big sort of niche that's missing in YouTube right now for Yu-Gi-Oh! At least. There isn't really anyone out there who makes short videos. It's all very drawn out, stretched, I don't want to sound really edgy and stuff, but it's really kind of vanilla content. And I think people sometimes they want to watch a video, they just want to get in, get the information, get out, and I try and do that.
Yeah, I find a lot of technology nowadays is that we have instant access to everything. So we kind of want things quickly, and we want to know it. And it sounds like that's the kind of content that you're trying to deliver in this day and age, because some people don't have the time to be able to go around and like watch for like 20, 30 minutes straight. I mean, even this podcast takes about 60 to 90 minutes. This is something for, people if they just want to listen to in the background while they work, but as opposed to you, that we want to have something like really like visually nice and quickly informative. And that's what a lot of your videos does. Is that pretty much a good justification of that?
Yeah, exactly. Like the focus I take is like I try to have a balance between informative and entertaining. I want people to I like creating the videos, not so much like the editing procedure, but I really enjoy writing. I really enjoy like having an image in my mind of like how like the script is going to play out and how everything's going to unfold like in the video and how it's going to sequence and where the cutaways are going to be and where the zooms and the gags are going to go. And I love that process a lot. So I really enjoy that, and bringing that balance where like, I feel like personally I'm somewhat like slightly above average like skills. So, I have like a little bit to offer and a little bit to teach people. So I can bring that with a bit of an entertaining twist. And I think that's just a really good formula. And it's been working out clearly. The numbers speak for themselves. And I'm pretty proud of like the new direction sort of I've taken semi recently.
And that's what I really enjoyed about your videos is the comedic take that you approach with your videos, because that's the stuff that keeps me watching your stuff, is that you're entertaining, you're funny while you deliver your message. And that's always a big thing that's difficult, is being able to just retain your audience. And I think that really does a fantastic job, and I think it reflects how you have such big numbers on both your Twitch and YouTube.
Yeah, like if you look at like competitive content on Yu-Gi-Oh, like over the years, it's never really been something that's done well. It's never something that has succeeded. It's never been something that's thrived. Like there isn't like a big YouTuber or content creator who is specifically very seriously in-depth technical big gameplay related YouTuber, right? It's just not a thing, like there's a balance. Like people kind of don't really care that much about the super in-depth, like technical sort of aspect of, okay, well, where am I going to learn how to do an Infernoble combo through this 2 hand traps that ends on this board? But what if I draw this specific, like that's, no one cares. Like, like that's just not something to care about. Like it's people just want like a little bit of entertainment factor. They want to see funny stuff. They want to see Yu-Gi-Oh! At its like best, which in my opinion I feel is like when it's played like, I don't want to just say like for fun, because that's a very sort of cheap takeaway and it sort of relinquishes like the competitive aspect a lot. But it's like like they want to see like things that are good, like good decks and good gameplay and good players, but like at the same time like with a bit of a nice spin, right? And I feel like kind of what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, because that there's like hundreds and thousands of people who try to get into Yu-Gi-Tubing or whatever, and they just kind of do the same stuff and just do deck profiles, and it just kind of seems stale. And you have to offer something that yet you have that other people don't. And I would guess in your case, and I try not to curse when I'm on this podcast, but in your case it'll work. But you also like to shit post as well as you do your videos as well. You're known for that, which also is like a kind of a niche for all your videos as well.
Yeah, I think like even as far back as my channel in the early days, back when I had 5,000 subs, 10K subs, 20K subs, a consistent theme has always been just like shit posting, really. So yeah. That's kind of like one of my strengths and what I've played to, and I think like it's something that works really well with a game like Yu-Gi-Oh, because Yu-Gi-Oh is just a game that has so much potential for creating funny content. Like there's like not just me, like you look at Rank 10 Yu-Gi-Oh, you look at Kamina Cat's old 101 how to play series, Table 500, like there's just a lot of potential in Yu-Gi-Oh just for funny things to happen. And I think that's where the game thrives best, and at least in the YouTube side.
Well, with the success of your YouTube channel, with all these funny bits, it reminds me of a quick little story that I heard a long time ago. And I regard you as kind of like a jester of Yu-Gi-Oh! And what I mean by that is, typically back in the old days, like when kings would have their jesters to entertain them, the jesters were the only people that were actually able to tell the truth, and they were actually the smartest ones and knew how to ran the kingdom. They weren't just there for purely entertainment. They were there to actually direct the king. And that's kind of you in a sense. You're funny, yet you're informative and you're actually telling it like really how it is right now. And I think also that's a bit of the shit posting as well, because you kind of go in grounds where not a lot of people are going in. I mean, you kind of shit posting, but you're not doing it because you're trying to just like troll people or whatnot. You're really just doing it as you're trying to like uncover actual news or like really tell the public like what's going on.
Yeah, I'm a class clown, basically, a glorified class clown. No, I think that, the thing that I get a lot of, I mean, every YouTuber has their hate and their, you know, the negatives that people don't like about their channel, and everyone's like got their own, you know, staple sort of criticism, like Team Sam's like too overreactive and too crazy, and DZF is boring, and blah, blah blah. Everyone has theirs, and I think like the one I get usually is like the toxic, I think maybe is like the word I'd use. Like a lot of people say, I don't think I am, obviously, but I think that's probably the one I've seen a lot of. And I think it's because like people don't understand that like the best way to like, I don't know, it's just like a life sort of lesson is if you can't laugh at yourself, then I don't really know like what your perspective on being alive must be, right? Like you I feel like everyone should be able to like laugh and insult themselves. And you know, if you can't do that, then I think you're just taking life too seriously, you know, not even just like Yu-Gi-Oh, you know, shit posting videos, just life in general. So that's what I see, what I like doing, what I enjoy most. Like I maybe it's like a culture thing, like British humor, I feel like is generally pretty self-deprecating. And that's what I enjoy most. And like, I love that like really sort of tongue in cheek, awkward kind of humor a lot. And I think so for a lot of people, it just doesn't work, which is fine. You know, you don't have to enjoy and like everything. But I think like that can come across as toxic, and it can come across as really negative for people who just aren't really accustomed to that style of humor.
And I would agree with you on that sense, because I self-depreciate myself all the time, and I love making fun of myself. You know, it's just something you don't take yourself too seriously, and I feel like you're comfortable with yourself if you're able to do that all the time. And, you know, not mean that maliciously to yourself as like kind of like a dark thing, but, you know, I make fun of myself all the time. Like, so like, just for an example, and this is, I'm not saying this is true, but, you know, I'm Asian, and there's, you know, there's whole that stereotype of, you know, they have like small genitalia, and I make that joke all the time with my girlfriend, and she does that the same with me. We both get a laugh out of it. And, you know, I don't laugh at myself. I always laugh at myself, and I don't take myself too seriously. You know, it's a comfort thing for myself. I personally find anyway.
That's I don't have any comment. Sounds like a nice kink.
It's quite the kick. Oh god. I do professional wrestling as well. I haven't done it so much lately, but all of my like jokes and everything are like Asian stereotypes, and everything just gets pulled out of the hat. Like nothing is off the table for myself when it comes to self-deprecation.
Okay.
It's pretty fun. It's pretty funny. So like when I watch your videos, I always just have a nice little laugh. You know, at the end of the day, if I just need to unwind, I just want to laugh and do a little bit of Yu-Gi-Oh. Like that's where I turn to you for YouTube, and just give myself, you know, a good like 5-10 minutes of just a quick laugh that I can go on with the rest of my day after I've unwound after like a long day of work. So that's kind of where I use your outlet of videos, and you know, that's why I'm sure you have like so much success for both your Twitch and your YouTube.
Yeah, just quick and to the point, and a bit of entertainment on top, and that's I feel like, you know, the best way to connect to people after, like, you know, they just want to watch a quick video on the bus or something on the way home from work or whatever, or to work, et cetera, et cetera. Just something to brighten up the day and keep the mood up, you know.
Well, you say that you invest more into your Twitch, or you care about more about your Twitch than your YouTube. What do you do on your Twitch?
I don't know, bro. I've been streaming on Twitch for like 2 years. I still don't know what I do on Twitch. I go through like entire streams and then whole days on Twitch, and we don't even actually know what happens.
Yeah.
Like, I guess I'll you know, it's a little bit of a formula. Like, I'll get on, you know, we'll talk like one-on-one with chat for a bit. I'll do my warm-up duel, play like an actual Yu-Gi-Oh game on Dueling Book, and then we'll just like watch YouTube videos and Yu-Gi-Oh related content, and then discussions, and then like a couple of like funny events and stuff happen regularly. Like, I'll let people do like this thing called like the Dragoon Challenge, where, you know, I'll summon a Dragoon and then I'll spin a wheel, and then they have to like play through Dragoon plus like Ojama King, or Dragoon plus like, you know, secret village. It's just like really dumb stuff like that. So I try to like make everything like kind of like community based and stuff, and I try bring people in as much as I can, because I feel like that's probably how people enjoy Twitch most, is when they feel involved and when they feel like they're not just watching like an entity, they're like watching a person that they like can like, in a sense, like almost like hang out with, right?
That's really great that you can provide like interaction with your fans too, because you see a lot of streams, and most of the stream is just just watch me play this. This is just a playthrough of this or whatnot. That's what you would typically expect from like a Yu-Gi-Oh player, is just watch them play on Dueling Book or something. So being able to have interactions with your audience is pretty cool and a little bit different. Like I also watched the video that you had with Triff that you put up, that Triff put out about last week, roughly, with that you put the Dragoon challenge on him.
Yeah,
and I enjoy that myself. But it's that kind of content that really kind of makes it more, it humanizes it.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think
that's something I'll mix it up. Like there are days where I actually just like, I'm just like super into the meta. I'm super into the game. Like right now, for example, I'm actually like really, really into dragons, and I enjoy them like a lot. So recently, like a lot of my streams have actually just been me like try hard, seriously grinding rated on Dueling Book, because like I just really like the deck. And other days, I'll just like completely sick of this game, and I just hate, like I never want to see I don't want to look at an Nibiru or anything right now, like so it's just a mix, right? Some days are like I want to do this, some days I want to do that, and people just kind of come along for the ride as much as they want, if they want.
It reminds me of that the video you put up when you decided to just quote unquote quit Yu-Gi-Oh because your opponent like top deck carded demise right off the top, and you kept like drawing Garnet like in your opening hand with Brilliant Fusion as well. Again, those are quite entertaining as well, and I always love them. But I also noticed that you put out Among Us videos from time to time as well.
I haven't actually posted any Among Us videos, but I have played a decent amount on Twitch.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I keep seeing like Among Us videos on your Twitch, and my girlfriend and I have been really getting into it lately. So like, is that kind of like part of your little rotation that's on Twitch, or is that something you just kind of decide to do like randomly once in a while?
I like to stick to like mostly Yu-Gi-Oh because I think it's better to kind of like consistently have like an audience that like know what they're getting, and then like there's a bunch of stuff I've always wanted to like play on Twitch, but I kind of just never really got around to, because I just feel like people would rather just kind of see you do the thing that they're kind of used to. And I think like obviously it works really well for other streamers because they don't like care, like they just want to see like their favorite streamer play whatever game that comes out. I try not like get too far into variety, but occasionally like we did like an Among Us game with like Triff or something recently, and oh my god, that was one of the dumbest, funniest evenings of my entire life. Like, wow. Triff trying to lie is actually unreal. So, but yeah, I'll mix it up a little bit. But I generally, my focus is like, it's always going to be Yu-Gi-Oh! Really.
How long was that Among Us game with Triff? Like how long?
I can't remember. I think we played like all night, like 3-4 hours. I'm pretty sure I was up to like 3 a.m. or something streaming, like just playing Among Us with Triff.
Oh, how recent was it?
Like 2-3 weeks ago, something like that.
Oh, okay. Like, have you ever thought of like just getting a collaboration of like different like YouTubers or like big Yu-Gi-Oh names and just have a night of Among Us?
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, I've tried really hard to like get a bunch of them together, but like they're all like different. We're all like different time zones, and like one YouTuber is like not that into it, another guy's like got his own friend group that he play with, and then like this guy's busy, and this guy doesn't know how to use a computer like for video games. Like, it's just kind of a mess. I've tried really hard, but it's not really working out.
Oh yeah, that's fair. The different time zone thing definitely has to be a problem as well. I can understand that. I mean, here we are right now. I'm in 10:30 in the morning for me. Usually this is my time to wake up. I'm a Nighthawk.
Yeah,
but nonetheless, going from your Twitch now to back to your YouTube, because you've done a whole lot of stuff there. But as you said, you've gone through a lot of transformations before that. I mean, pretty sure you weren't always known as Farfa. You were known as Glasgow Yugioh before that.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that is true.
Yeah. So what caused that little transition?
So I think at the time I was in grad school and I was like becoming like an actual teacher in high school, and I just wanted to like separate my identity from my online identity. And
Mhm.
so I figured it was probably a good time anyway because my content was really changing then as well, and I thought it was maybe just a good time to like freshen up and a new persona, new chapter, new sort of take, like going forward and stuff. And I thought it was like a good opportunity to like just to have a fresh start, really.
Mhm.
I don't think it was anything particularly like it wasn't like a bad thing that sparked it or anything. It was just like I just made a conscious decision that I wanted to separate myself from my other self, essentially, right?
Mhm. So what's the difference between Glasgow Yu-Gi-Oh on YouTube compared to Farfa on YouTube?
God, I don't know. The content sucked, I guess. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I can't even remember what my content was now that I think about it. It's just really vanilla content, like it's a couple of deck profiles, some bad quality discussions, hyper registered cam 2 desktop recording, just bad content. Like, I don't know. Like, I actually don't understand like why my channel even slightly grew under Glasgow Yugioh, to be honest. I guess like I had a lot of my real life friends and presents who were they were sort of carrying the channel a lot. Like I had like a lot of funny people back then who'd make like insane deck profiles, like Danny's old BA profiles.
Mhm.
I think that's about it. Yeah, my friends basically carried a lot of it. I don't think I did much. I kind of just, honestly, I don't remember anything memorable as Glasgow Yugioh. I don't like. The
No?
channel sucked. Like I have no idea what the channel was back then. I actually don't know. It was garbage.
Yeah. So like, so how could you attribute yourself to like the success that you've had then in like the past like roughly like 4 years, I guess, because I think that's when you really started to transform over from Glasgow to Farfa at that point in time.
Yeah, I think it's just very slowly. It's taken me a lot longer than other people to just find the niche and just find the like the just really like the recipe that just works best for me. Like, what is it that people are going to come to my channel for, and what because like I've always tried. Like, I think like before, like I tried to do like just a bit of everything. Like I try and do deck profiles, I try and do news, I try and do like discussions, and then like, it's just really overwhelming. Even when you're doing it for full time, it's like you just develop this like almost like kind of schizophrenic style of channel that just doesn't really know what it's doing, but it's also trying to do this, but like not this. And don't want to be too mean or say it bluntly, but like you can kind of see with channels like Asian Eyes, for example, that were like the absolute untouchable king of kings of YouTube. And it's just where is he now, right? Like it's not like he's, don't mean that to be like really mean or anything, but like it's just not, he's just not where he was before, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of like probably one of the issues that maybe he had, and like what I was having was like I just didn't really know what I was doing. Like, what was it? What really am I trying here? And I think when you get too comfortable in the same mold and in the same methodology, it can like result in stagnation. And I think it's always good to try and experiment and try new things and keep practicing like different styles of content and stuff like that. And at least for now, like this is where I'm at and this is what's working for me. And maybe in a few more months I'll have another identity crisis. I don't know, maybe I'll become like a Blackwing replay channel or something. You never know.
Yeah. So now that you've kind of grown into Farfa, we've seen you out there like publicly like associated with Konami as well, because we've seen you've done the European remote duel invitational, you've also commented for YCS Milan, and and then you got to be part of the commentate for the grand tournament, KC Grand Tournament, my apologies, for Duel Links as well. So how did you get into that kind of line of work?
I don't think it was like a particular process, really. It was just sort of so like different Konami branches have like different places around Europe and stuff, and the UK people wanted to like try out like what's the word, like basically just the community outreach, right? Like they wanted to like test the waters and try, because it's something that's been done for like years now, where content creators can can, you know, do promotional or early style of like reveals and stuff for their respective games. Like Blizzard has been doing it with Hearthstone for a while. I'm pretty sure Magic has like a bunch of stuff with content creators. So like, you know, I guess it was just time for like Konami. Early last year, maybe even the year before that, they just, you know, started trying out like, okay, all right, we can invite you guys over, you know, have like a little one-on-one sort of like, you know, meet and greet, and then like, you know, okay, here's some product, you know, you guys can like use this on your channel. And then it slowly developed into like, okay, well, here's like an early reveal. You guys can, you know, try, you know, show this to the world first, you know, through you guys. And, you know, eventually, like, I really wanted to push for like getting more involved with like the competitive side as well. And they gave me a chance to commentate. I know I thought it went really well. I thought it was really fun, and you know, something I wanted to keep doing. But unfortunately, with the world that it is that way at the moment, you know, there's no events, so there's nothing really to commentate right now. But you know, yeah, I think it was just like a sort of gradual, slow, natural transition from like, you know, that sort of content creator and game relationship that just kind of like became, you know, you guys can do like early reveals, you guys can like release information. You know, and I wanted to go a little bit further, and I just wanted to like, you know, get involved with the competitive side. And I think event coverage was probably the best way to get involved, just like as a sort of side freelance thing whenever they like needed a team or whatever. Like I was always you know, more than happy to like go out and, you know, do what I love, which is like going to YCS, but, you know, not actually having to play the Yu-Gi-Oh. Oh.
Yeah, because that's a completely different experience that not a lot of people really get to have. Like for myself, I'm also a sports broadcaster myself, so I'll be able to call games. I called like a mini series, a mini cash Yugioh series once, that we had in Toronto, like in here in Canada. How was the experience for you that you got to be a commentator for a YCS?
I guess it's just really interesting to see like the amount of work and effort that goes on behind the scenes to actually run a YCS, because like it seems really like straightforward in your mind when you're a player. It's like, well, yeah, here's some pairings, here's some match slips, yeah, go have fun, you know. But you know, it's like a big like production team and like a process and like, you know, camera work and like all this like crazy like almost like showbiz style thing like going on behind the scenes. And it's, you know, it was really cool, it was really interesting. Just seeing like the other side, basically, you know, what goes into like featuring a match on a YCS, right? Like you think like, oh, well, it can't be that hard, right? I mean, you just get some guys to sit down, play in front of a camera, boom, there you go. But you know, it's like a process, and it was just really interesting. I had a lot of fun doing it, like picking feature matches and you know, doing like because it doesn't feel like a job at all. Like, you know, when you're out there like commentating and stuff, it does not feel like I'm literally there doing what I would like do anyway, regardless, right? It's just, you know, I just have to be like, you know, doing it in front of a camera, right? Like talking about the game, like, okay, this is what happened, this is what you did, this is what you played, and then what you know, what do you think of the match that you just played? Like, you know, it's kind of like the natural discussions you have with your friends at a YCS, except, you know, I guess it's a little bit more professionalized and just in front of a camera, right? So it just feels really natural, you know, it's really fun.
And what other work kind of goes behind the scenes that the audience wouldn't see that you would do there?
I don't know. Kind of, I have no idea, dude. Yeah, I don't want to go too much into details, obviously.
Yeah, that's fair. It might be confidential. We know Konami might be a little bit of might hit you for that, and I don't want you to get in trouble.
It's. I mean, I basically mentioned everything, right? Like you have your production team, you have like your matches that you pick, and you know, it's just about like putting on a show, right? So
yeah, is something you'd want to do again, given the opportunity?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was going to do the European Championship, and then there was no European Championship, so
yeah.
You know. So I guess hopefully we'll try it out in a few more months or something, whenever events start up again.
Well, you did get to do you did commentate for the KC Grand Tournament for Duel Weeks not too long ago, and
yeah,
I'm guessing it had to be a different experience from doing Milan. How was that experience?
Yeah, it was interesting because like it wasn't online. Sorry, it wasn't in person. It was an online event, and you know, it's Duel Links, so it's like basically a different game. And I did play like a decent amount of Duel Links. Definitely not as into it as I am into the TCG, but you know, I like had like a very like decent grasp of the meta. I think I like made like pretty good calls and stuff, and the feedback that I saw in like various like Discord communities and stuff was like pretty good, and people enjoyed watching and they had a good time like listening to the commentary. So like it was great. it didn't feel that much different at all from what I usually do. Because like when I stream every day, like, you know, I will sometimes just like watch a duel on like, you know, online, and I'll just watch the duel and I'll just like commentate through it. And, you know, every so often you have like various events and stuff that go on like the LCSs and things like that. And, you know, I'll watch those and I'll like, you know, just enjoy it. And, you know, it doesn't feel that different, right? Like you're just watching a Yu-Gi-Oh game and doing what I normally do.
And did Konami like just kind of cordially invite you to basically like help commentate and broadcast that?
I was asked to help out. Yes. Yeah, it's pretty as simple as it gets. Yeah, just, you know, do you want to do this? And I was like, okay.
And then you've been on the other side of it too, because you, I think a couple months ago, you participated in the European Remote Duel Invitational.
Yeah, that was like really different, because that was the first time I'd ever really properly had a remote duel. I think like the day before that, I did like a day or two of like remote duel. What's the word? Streams and stuff, and it was really funny. Because like, you know, we laughed about it 10 years ago with like Skype dueling, but it's actually become like the kind of staple right now.
Yeah.
You know, so it was like, you know, I'm not like that tech savvy and stuff as a content creator. I like I said earlier, I just kind of like, I enjoyed like the writing process and stuff of like of the content creation, rather than like the actual technical side of like editing and stuff like that. So like trying to like make like a good setup and like getting the perfect angles and cropping exactly and running the life points simultaneously alongside everything. And like it was kind of, you know, it was a challenge, but, you know, I got there in the end. And then obviously like when I had to play like in the invitational thing, I mean, it was pretty simple, because, you know, I don't actually need to do any of the technical stuff. You just play Yu-Gi-Oh there. I did manage to like, you know, completely mess up. Like, oh my God. Like, I don't know. I think I had like really cursed feature matches. Because when I was playing, I managed to foolish burial Block Dragon under Herald. Brave instead. So I played out an entire turn, and then it was caught that, wait a minute, you foolished under Herald. So I checked the VOD. I went all the way back, rewound everything, and then brought it back to the original game state. And then it took like 10 minutes of like a break on stream to like I fixed the game state. It's like, I don't know. I'm such an idiot. I am actually such a moron. But yeah, that was about it. It was I think other than that, it was a pretty smooth event.
Did you make it? Did you do that in top 8? Because I think that's when you got eliminated in the event.
I don't. You see, you say top 8, and that sounds insane, but I only think there was like 16 players. So, no, I think that was the top 16 game. No, yeah, I messed up and did all this dumb stuff in top 16, and then like rewound it, and then I still managed to win that game. And then the next game was like top 8 was yeah, I think I ended on like Savage, Buster Lock, and like something else. But I didn't play around him hard drawing Taco Crusader. So he just crashed Taco Crusader into Savage Dragon, bounced Buster, and then played in main phase 2. So I could have played around it by just summoning the Savage in defense. And then I was eliminated, Sag.
So when you played that Remote Duel Invitational, was that like a fairly good like substitute to playing in real life? Because I know you also play a bunch of large events as well.
I mean, for where we're at right now, remote duels like wasn't that bad. Like, to be honest, like it was actually like kind of fine. Like it actually felt like good in some respects, right? Because like, if you know, you're a YCS and you're tired or whatever in between rounds, like if you play like a big remote duel event like all day, you know, you're gonna get like really you can do what you want, right? You can go to the kitchen, get a snack, you can lie down, you can go watch TV for like 10 15 minutes in between rounds. Like, you can just chill, right? But out of YCS, it's like I feel like it's a little bit more draining out of YCS. I don't know how other people are. Like, some people are just really social, but for me sometimes like I at like big events, I just want to get away from everyone. You know, I just need to be by myself, and just like, you know, that's kind of how I am sometimes as a person. I just need to be alone and breathe and just not have to deal with the constant, like, you know, noise and hustle and bustle and social interaction. So like, you know, when you have like a big remote duel event, it was actually kind of, you know, refreshing to be able to just kind of literally just take a step back and chill like in between rounds if I needed to.
Yeah, because that's a big thing for like when you go like to YCS or not, is like the amount of breaks that you may or may not be able to get, because, you know, the YCS has to run as fast as they can, because we all know it's a long event, and a lot of people go without food throughout the entire day. So it's it's a big advantage that you can just kind of walk to your fridge after you're done, grab a snack, and go back and kind of like recharge yourself. And I think that's a good point that you made as well. Is at least being able to give yourself some time to breathe after a duel.
Yeah, it's just something that like you can really struggle with at a big event, and like people, I've asked like so many times over the years, like, yeah, what's like one tip and one piece of advice you'd give for like my first ever YCS, and like I've said like the same tip every single time, and it's like how you play your deck and your deck build and like all that, like that do not, it's completely irrelevant. Like who cares, right? Biggest advice I'd give is like get a big breakfast before you go out, and make sure you take something with you to eat for lunch, because it's so draining. Like really, really, like if you have like day one, which is like 7 rounds, and you're having like 40-minute gaps in between each round, like it's like a 10 hour day or something. It's really draining. So like you need to really like stay like hydrated, drink your water, gamers, etc. You know what I mean? Like because that's what I found. Even my first regional, never mind like YCS, my first regional ever, I noticed I was like, oh my God, like I'm dying here. Like I need to get like food, and I didn't really like properly like get a good night's sleep the night before. So it was just it was awful, So I activated Wolfbark and special summoned the monster after activating Pot of Duality. But
ouch!
What could I say, dude? I didn't get enough sleep. All right, I'm sorry.
Yeah, health is definitely a big concern, because I've had a lot of people like going through a regional YCS say, okay, just kind of quit, because like they're so drained like by food nutritionally, like they don't have any food in them, or they're just tired, like because they didn't get enough sleep. And it does kind of reflect your gameplay a little bit. Some people have to run on fumes. So yeah, I would say maintaining health is definitely a big thing, like a mental aspect. It's kind of like golf, you got to be there mentally as well, because that's majority of the game is mental. And that's also a big thing for Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like your mental condition, and being able to fight through everything just to play a good game.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just gotta, it's not just about like your deck and playing it well. You gotta be good on the day on a personal level.
Yeah, definitely that. But I know you've played a lot of big events, but you've also come over to North America to play several events as well.
Just the one.
Can you just the one?
The one, yeah. YCS, Dallas, Fort Worth, one of those.
Yeah, it's Dallas. I think it was Fort Worth, Texas, I believe.
Yeah, that one.
Or it could be Dallas. Yeah. So how is it? Is there like a continental difference from playing in Europe compared to when you had your experience in North America?
Well, I didn't really have much of an experience because I played BA and I suck. So like, I was out by like round 4. So I didn't really get like a good gauge of the event. But it was, I don't know. No, I really enjoyed America. Like American people are like so much more bubbly and like social, and, like whereas Europeans are like very sort of, I guess a little bit more serious, a little bit more like, basically at YCS, right? You sit down, you play against the German, they're just like, hello, yes, okay, activate the card, yeah. And then you play against an American, it's like, hey, buddy, I got an Ash Blossom here for you, and like it's more like more an entertaining experience, I think, playing in America. It was really funny. I had a great time. The reason I even went over in the first place because I have family in Texas, so I was like, okay, well, I'll see my family and I'll go and like meet, all these hundreds of people literally that I've made friends with over the course of like YouTube. Like, I stayed with DZ and Gage. We went out together for dinner with like Simo and Team Sam, and like, so we had like a big like, experience, like networking in one way, but meeting friends that you had never seen before, even like, outside of YouTube, like just a bunch of people I'd like gotten friends with online, people from the subscribers from Twitch and stuff, meeting them for the first time. Like that's what it was all about. And yeah, I had a great time. Like honestly, I think I enjoyed like YCS, like Fort Worth, almost more than like any YCS I'd been to in Europe.
Oh wow! And did you do anything else while you were in the United States when you came over for YCS?
Well, I held an assault rifle, so that was as American as it gets and as Texan as it gets.
Yeah, I've seen that photo before. So I didn't know that was in Texas, so that
yeah,
that makes a lot of sense.
I had landed like 3 hours before, and I already had like firearms in my hand. So it's like, yep, definitely in America.
Wow. Yeah, the gun laws in Canada are a lot more strict. It's a lot harder to get a firearm as opposed to the States. So I personally never held a firearm before myself. So you're one step above me in that regard.
Yeah, it was an experience. Simo wanted to take me to the range, but we just never had time, sadly.
Oh, really? Gee, I'd never envisioned Simo going to the range before.
Simo's a real defender of the Constitution. Yeah, you heard it here.
Whose rifle was that?
That was like my uncle's or no, my aunt's. No. What am I talking about? My cousin's husband. Yeah.
Okay, so it was a family member's firearm as opposed.
YCS. No, don't worry.
I was hoping that wasn't the case.
No, was it at the Winnemat? No.
I mean, that'd be a pretty easy way to win a mat if you took that along.
Hell yeah, brother.
So a lot of people here probably listening in probably don't know how a YCS is in Europe. How is a YCS in Europe compared to your experience that you had in North America, aside from like the examples that you've already given?
Honestly, it's pretty much the same thing. I felt like it wasn't really that much different at all, other than like socially and culturally, I guess. I mean, like one thing that I noticed that's like particularly like a big difference between NA and EU is that in NA, you're allowed to pre-reg without your deck list, so that on the Saturday morning you can literally just show up and just throw your deck list into a box and that's it. Whereas in Europe, you cannot pre-reg without your deck list, which is really annoying for people who take the game seriously, because they, typically like you arrive like Thursday night or Friday morning, you want to like meet with all your teammates and, just various like networking you've done online to coordinate your deck lists and, figure out your techs and even just freaking which list you're going to play in the first place. And, like, that's something you might not decide till like Friday night. And then when you have things recently, it's a great problem to have where there's just been way too many people at a YCS that, they physically can't accommodate for that many entrants. Like at YCS London, people literally had to be turned away. YCS Dusseldorf, people were turned away because there's just too many people entering, So like when you can't pre-reg in situations like that, it's really bad. So like, so in America, it was like really seamless and easy. Like you just, like I arrived like Thursday, pre-reg, easy. Saturday, okay, practice a little bit with my friends in the hotel like the night before. All right, I think this list seems good. And then you write out the list and you just throw it in on Saturday morning and that's it. Whereas, you just can't do that in EU unless you risk like, a 3-hour queue and then getting turned away.
Well, in geographically, Europe has so many like countries kind of like congested into one area, as opposed to North America. You've got like Canada, you have the United States, and you have Mexico, like encompassing like one entire continent. And there's not all diversity in languages as opposed to Europe. Do you have like a language barrier in Europe? Because I know that a lot of people can speak English in Europe because they learn several languages because they're so close in proximity. But do you ever like come across language barriers when you're playing?
I've personally never had any issues, and I feel like most people our age kind of like in Europe have like a decent grasp of English. Like even like the Italians and French players who typically don't always learn English as well as like the other European nations. Like Yu-Gi-Oh is a pretty international game. If you're going to a YCS, like you probably know the cards you're playing with, just simple like pointing and like no and yes, like is enough to like really get through a game without problems. There you will get occasionally, I'll say occasionally, it's probably every event. It's kind of frequent. You'll have like some player from a specific country say like, no, sorry, I didn't say yes, and then no, but you declared no, like you just, and I didn't understand you and all this bullshit, and so you have to like get a judge involved and blah blah blah, and then like so a lot of people will fall back on the language barrier sometimes to like try and take back misplays or something like that, right? And that's just something that isn't going to happen in America, right? Like at all, like that. If there's a communication breakdown in America, like it's almost always easy to like find the culprit and whose fault it was. Whereas in Europe, like if you end up with like a French versus Italian player, good luck with that judge call, buddy.
And I think it's a really good point that you made, because again, there's Canada, at least we have like one little section, a province, it's called Quebec, and that's where a lot of like the French kind of is settled in Canada. So if ever I go to Quebec and play any events, there's sometimes you can get a bit of a language barrier myself. So I've had an experience or two like that, but usually in the end it's not too bad, because I can speak a little bit myself, and at least enough to get by, at least play a game of Yu-Gi-Oh. But I've only played like one other person who couldn't speak any English at all, and other than that, it's definitely a surreal experience to kind of have to communicate with a little bit more with your hands and everything like that. I don't know if you've had any experiences playing with any players who can't speak English at all.
Yeah, so I lived in Germany for a few months when I was studying for like my third year or something a few years ago, and I remember I went to a locals and I was playing against like one or two German players who like actually just didn't speak English, and it was like fine. So assuming like both players like know the game and understand like very basic rulings, like it's fine. Like honestly, like you point, you say effect, yes, no. These are all just simple, like think, like these are all really just sort of like international things that people kind of just understand, like across, people who play Yu-Gi-Oh, regardless of their language barrier. It only gets complicated when I tried to summon a Necros of Trishula, and then he changed the effect of Steel Swarm Roach. At that point, it's like, bro, I don't have the German,
Yep.
I don't have the German skills to explain why that doesn't work.
Yep.
That's when it becomes problematic.
Yeah, that I can understand, because if you're reading English as a second language, you'd assume that it works for all special summons as opposed to only inherent special summons that don't use the chain, and that's I'm sure that it gets a little messy at that point for you.
Yeah, so I had to like call someone over and have him explain in German like why you can't Rocha summon.
Yeah.
It was really funny. I knew exactly where it was going. Like I can't remember what he was playing. Was he even playing? I don't know. He some kind of weird like rank 4 deck. Right. So yeah. I'm going second with Necros, and turn 1, game 2 or game 3. So he knows I'm playing Necros. Turn 1, he summons Steel Swarm Roach, and then I just like sigh into my hand, and then I think like I know exactly where this is going. Like I know what's gonna happen here. I'm going to retro summon. He's going to solemn warning, or think he's solemn warning it. It's not gonna work. But yeah,
no. And then how's the dueling scene in Scotland?
Like I feel like it peaked in like late 2013, 2014. At least like that's kind of when I started, and there was like a thriving local scene. Like every week I'd go play against like the good like couple of players and stuff like that. And they really helped me like improve at the game and get better and stuff. And I think like around about 2017, 2018, it was really rough. Like the local scene actually just died. Like genuinely, it just freaking died. And that was probably because of the fact that it was like Pendulum, FTK, Firewall, Danger format, and that was just awful. At least for me. Like some people obviously loved it, but for me personally, that year, like Link summoning as well, like Master Rule 4, that kind of era, like actually killed my locals. All the players that really, I'd still like to until this day consider my friends. Like they weren't just like people I played Yu-Gi-Oh with. These were people that I actually made like real meaningful friendships with. They just quit. Like they just stopped playing. Like Master Rule 4 like actually killed the game for them and for me locally, which is ironic because like 2018 was the biggest year for Yu-Gi-Oh! Like every single event was breaking a record, like biggest NEWCQ ever, biggest EU WCQ ever, biggest YCS in Italy, biggest YCS in Germany ever, etc., etc. This record after record was being broken, but yet at least on the other side of that spectrum in Scotland, like for me, like my own local scene was just dying. So it was really a strange sort of paradox that was going on there, which is a shame. But it's there was a bit of a resurgence in like 2019, I think, when like Salmon Great Norcus was this thing, because they were kind of like cheap to obtain. Like they weren't really super expensive decks to get a hold of, and kind of like some new blood came in. Sadly, the same players that I used to play with just haven't come back, which is a shame.
Yep.
A bunch of new players and stuff have come in Scotland, and a couple of them actually kind of pretty decent, and there's like some kind of an existence of a local scene, and then COVID happened, so I don't even know what's going on anymore. I don't even know that. I have not been to a locals in. I don't even know that. I don't even think I've technically played a local this year. It's really depressing.
Oh, really? Ouch. Yeah, like because for it the lockdown and quarantine happened in North America roughly around mid-March, and I played locals at least in the first 2 months for sure. Like I was fresh off an OTS championship win, and then all of a sudden we went into lockdown like the following week. So I'm glad I was able to get that last. I came out on a high when I stopped, but I haven't been able to play like a competitive match since then, at least officially anyway. I played maybe some casuals with friends, but I barely picked up any cards during the whole pandemic, and even to this day I just got a new deck together, but I've barely been able to test it just because I'm trying to take the quarantine a little bit serious, and I don't play a lot online. So I don't know how it's been for you in Europe as regards to the pandemic. I keep hearing rumors that Sweden is doing really well with it, but I don't know how it is for you, how the pandemic life is for you when it comes to Yu-Gi-Oh in Scotland.
Yeah, so I mean, every country has taken their own policies and stuff, but at least in somewhere like Sweden, which I'm kind of aware of, is because that's where my wife's from. They didn't have a lockdown. Like they ignored it basically. Like they shut down the universities, and they had like online classes. And I think they closed maybe the schools. I don't even think they closed the schools, but at least like the universities were closed. And they've been online classes for a while now, but they actually just straight up ignored it. The UK was a little bit slow to the party, and then we went into lockdown for like 2 months, and then we came back like a few weeks ago, and everything was kind of going fine. And then like there's a second spike, so it's like an actual second wave. Like we had like our worst day ever like 3 days ago or something. So we're really going back into like restrictions and stuff. It's so dumb. So I have no idea what like the plan is with locals now. There was a local tournament that was about to happen 2 or 3 Sundays ago, and I was actually going to go because I finally put together my dragon deck in real life that I've been building, and looks like I don't think I'm going to be able to like play in any kind of local for this foreseeable future, at least here. So I just don't know. I invested in like a ton of I spent so much money the other day on camera. I bought a new desk, which is sitting behind me right now. So I'm going to try build like a semi-good remote duel setup, because there's a lot of remote duel tournaments happening, at least in the US. So I'm going to just take full advantage of having real life cards as much as I can and try and get some remote duel stuff going on.
Yep. Just you might have to be prepared to maybe stay up a little bit later than usual, considering, we're roughly 5 hours ahead of you. So hope you got like an energy drink or something to kind of keep you awake.
Yep, that is true.
So now I know like you're from Ireland, and and it's an actual island for people who may not be good with their geography, but in European traveling is really easy to get from country to country. For you, do you ever like travel to like anywhere else around Europe to play even just region, we'll say regionals at least at that level? Well, I mean, we are really close to the UK, but just anywhere in general in Europe, would you like travel for a regional?
Oh, no, I don't think I've ever traveled for a regional outside of like the UK.
Okay.
I know like one or two of my friends did, because they were doing the World's Race, so they were going to big regionals around quite often. There's like a couple of regionals per year that you like know which ones. I think like YCS. I think like the Cologne regional in Germany always has like a few hundred. Berlin maybe as well. I don't know if they get a regional. So there's like a couple around Europe that will be like big. It's so much more easier for people in like sort of Northwest Europe, like people in like West Germany, Luxembourg, Belgium, Netherlands. Like there's always there's like this cluster of like regionals that they can just travel in between quite easily and quite freely because open borders. But for me, I think like I traveled to like a London regional like a few years ago. Like took like a 8-hour night coach the night before or something, and like that was about it. But no, I don't really travel far for regionals. Definitely not regionals. No.
Where are you located in Ireland?
I'm from Scotland, not Ireland.
Oh, from Scotland. Sorry, my bad. I'm sorry. Where are you from Scotland? I'm sorry.
Glasgow, hence the name Glasgow.
Okay, so you're from Glasgow. Okay, is that where majority of your regionals are kind of set up for you?
That's where the majority of the Scottish regionals are. Yeah, they're in Glasgow. There's like 3 per year, maybe sometimes 4 per year, and then like there's one in like Edinburgh, and there's like another one nearby. Yeah, like all the Scottish regionals are basically within like an hour of where I am, which is really good. But yeah, like England, I mean, they're all kind of spread out around the place, and the European Union, like, yeah, I mean, they have their own thing going.
Oh yeah, yes, because how far are you away from the Glasgow's not too far off, and like you're like pretty much almost attached at the hip, if I recall correctly.
Glasgow is in the UK, dude.
Oh, see, this is where my education system failed me.
And the education did.
Jesus, I said Ireland several times. Like, wait, it's Scottish. Dave, you're an idiot. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's the United Kingdom, which consists of Scotland, England, and Wales and Northern Ireland, and then Ireland is a separate entity, not part of the union.
Yeah, I've completely failed myself in my geography here. So there you go. You heard it here first. This is probably my biggest goof I've ever done here on my podcast, and of course it had to be with my European geography, and of course, it's not my weakness too. Science is my weakness, but nonetheless, though, at least you're around like a lot of like big places around that, because Edinburgh's not too far off of Glasgow as well, and I don't know how far it is. I don't know how far it is from you from Glasgow to London.
Yeah, so that's when I took like a 8-hour coach thing a few years ago. So yeah, you're looking at like 6-hour drive by like car, like 7 or 8 on a coach.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty far. Well, I mean, it's far for like what we consider far, but I know like in America, like people will say, like, oh yeah, let's drive 7 hours to like a regional, and that's like normal. Like that's just like a regular Saturday afternoon or something in America.
Yeah,
yeah. Like that's like a big event. Like if you're traveling that far over here,
Yeah, I don't kind of envy you on that regard, because I live an hour and a half away from Toronto, which is the biggest city in Canada. So I have that privilege of not having to take a too far of a drive to get there. And of course, I get to see, like, as you said, those big names like Triff, Jesse Cotton as well. And Team Samurai X. I get to see them every regional I go to, and like as you said, 7-8 hours. That's typically a drive for me just to go to like a YCS, and that includes like the northeastern United States for me if I want to go to that event. So I definitely don't envy you on that regard. But I have friends who live in like different parts of Canada that have the same problem as you, in a sense that they have to travel. I don't know how big it is a grind for you to have to give yourself the mental capacity to be able to like go that far for regionals, but I don't know if I can go 7-8 hours just to travel for a regional.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel worth it. I drove down to a regional in like a place called Carlisle recently, which is only like 2-3 hour drive, and even that, like I felt like, bruh, like this is exhausting. That's just completely normal for like Americans. Like you guys do that for a local, never mind the regional.
I mean, I've traveled to Toronto before just for locals, but yeah, just that amount of time for just traveling for like such a small event. I don't. Again, it's like that's got to be hard. Like I couldn't do that. Even, as much as I love the game, like I couldn't travel that long for such a small local like that, unless I just happened to be in the area for a different reason.
Fair.
Which is like that. So, moving on to another one. You recently got to test the Yugioh Omega program right now, which is right now kind of like being anticipated as another way to play Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm pretty sure that you were a part of that testing. Is that correct?
Yeah, I did like they finally let us stream Omega for the first time, which was it was a really, really good process. I'm really excited for Yu-Gi-Oh! Omega. I think like the game's really missing a competitive, ranked online way to play outside of Dueling Book, because like Dueling Book is just like a lot of people just really don't like having to deal with like people who just don't know what a normal summon is, and judge calls and like all this kind of nonsense, and like a bunch of like rulings and stuff that might occur that both players would miss. It's not really something that will happen on an automatic simulator. So I remember like the earlier days of what was it, like Dev Pro, Quadruple Percy with like Checkmate as the rank server. Like Those are really good, like pretty competitive. And from what I understand, they had like a lot of concurrent players on those systems. So I'm really looking forward to Omega being like the next big like simulator to like rank on. You know, I'm super excited for it to be released. They're just working on fixing all the bugs and ironing out any sort of like issues like that with like rulings and small stuff like that. There's also the I think they're really trying to get what's it called, tournament mode done before they release it, which
really?
I think is going to be huge. Like I can't wait to see how that works. You know, like being able to just like invite like a pool of players, because it's all integrated with your Discord, which is like crazy. Like it's so cool to have like your Discord like actually track your statistics and like stats as a player.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. So like having like a bunch of people just integrated into like one system and then entered into a pool for like a tournament. Yeah, I just got so much potential. Like I'm really excited for it. Like really excited.
And you said it was automated, right?
Automated? They also have a manual mode. Yeah, so they're actually working on like a physically, like a one where you actually physically put the cards wherever you want and stuff. I mean, I feel like I have no interest in that. I think like it's a little bit, what's the word? Just unnecessary, because like I feel like Dueling Book, like if you want to play like a manual simulator, like you just play Dueling Book. It's like that's like the niche I see. But you know that if you really want, you have like the manual mode as well, which is coming on Omega. But for me personally, like I primarily see it as like what I want to play as the you know, the automatic simulator. You know, so I'm really excited for it.
And you know, how does this one, aside from what you mentioned, are there any other differences that kind of separate like Omega from like all the different Yu-Gi-Oh simulators that we have around? Like this includes like the video games as well, because they're technically a simulator too.
Like from the official video games, I mean, I think it. I'm pretty sure they run off of like the same base code. I don't know like too much about the intricacies and the ins and outs and the details of Omega, but I think they basically are like essentially like the same game. Like they work off of like the same like, you know, physical like structure as the video games, which is why you have like a couple of issues with rulings and stuff in because they you know, the video games all use like OCG rules.
Oh, okay. That I did not know. That's good to know, actually.
So when it comes to like, you know, a really important thing is like hand trigger location is works differently on Omega. So in the TCG, for example, if you summon like Needle Fiber, you can go Chainlink 1, Needle Fiber, Chainlink 2, Kwakimeru Recruiter, whatever it's called. So you know, essentially you can chain block your Needle Fiber so they can't like gamma it. Whereas in the OCG, when you activate Needle Fiber, it passes priority for them to be able to gamma you. You don't get priority to activate that monster in your hand. Chain block as a trigger effect, it counts as a quick effect. So that's like a really huge difference that I think will dissuade a lot of like really super competitive players from like grinding on something like Omega. But you know, that's just like an OCG TCG difference. And I think like the last time I spoke to them, they did actually say they were trying to. It won't be soon. But they are, because like you know, that's like inside like the very base root code. It's not like a simple card script. That's like embedded in like the actual, you know, I don't know the computer language. The bottom of the fucking pole. Okay, like it's deep underwater somewhere in the code for like fixing the how the triggers work there. But yeah, I think like they did say something potentially about trying to bring that into. In line with TCG at some point in the future.
What platform were you playing? Were you testing Omega on?
Just PC. I think it's only available on PC right now. I'm not sure if there's going to be a mobile thing. I don't even think it works on Mac right now. Maybe, I'm not sure. I think. Okay. But yeah, for now it's PC. Yeah, I don't know if there is any other way to play it.
And how did you come about being able to to test the beta?
I think I mean, I've always been really involved with talking to one of the guys who's like, I get one of like the reps, I suppose, anti-Metaman. You know, we've always like talked just in general about like, you know, simulators and stuff like that. And you know, whenever they announced that they were having Omega, like, you know, he was like more than happy to have me stream it just as soon as they approved that there was going to be like, you know, a certain date and certain time that everyone could like stream at the same time. You know, because they really wanted to, like, before they let us stream it, they wanted to really iron out everything. You know, and I felt like personally, I mean, who cares, right? Like that's why it's a beta, right? It doesn't matter if it's broken or if there's bugs. Like that's the whole purpose of a beta. But they wanted to make sure that things were like a little bit more stable before they let us stream it. And yeah, I mean, when I streamed it, I didn't notice any issues personally. I mean, I had feedback for like the interface and a couple of things to like for example, right now the way you import a deck is like kind of convoluted. I really don't like the way you import a deck in Omega. So they're like doing things to like improve that kind of stuff and just taking on feedback. And it's really good. Like they're really listening. They really want to make like a super good product. I think it's basically the same people who made Yugioh Pro 2. I don't know how that worked out. I don't think anyone plays Yugioh Pro 2.
I don't think so either.
Yeah. But yeah, this one's really cool. You have so many options with customization, how you want the cards to look, how the artwork works, if you want to use like holograms or not, or if you just want to play with like bread and butter, simple top-down basic view of the board. Like, yeah, it's really exciting. Like, I'm really excited. I'm really hyped for it.
If and when it does come out, is this when you do your streaming with Twitch? Is this something you might actually kind of transition over to try out as you stream?
Yeah, I think that streaming on Dueling Book is kind of hard because like my focus when I stream is always like the community and like my chat and people that want to talk to me. Like, so that's like kind of like what I'm trying to focus on. So if I'm like in a really intense duel, it's hard to do that at the same time, and then I end up doing dumb plays like foolishing under Herald. So at least with like Yugioh Omega and an automatic simulator, it means that it's automatic, which means I don't need to keep watching my opponent like a hawk, making sure that they aren't doing something illegal while trying to like keep chat entertained and stuff, keep my children occupied, right? So it just means that I can focus a little bit more without having to deal with the problems that come with like a manual simulator.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point that you're making there. That it's a lot easier it's streamer friendly, I guess is the best way to put it, because that's one less thing you have to worry about in that case. And I think that's a really good idea. I'm glad you brought that up because it's a good point, and we really haven't had a lot of great Yu-Gi-Oh simulators that were automatic per se. So if this thing really takes off, this could be really big for you when you're doing your streams.
Yeah, it's great for me. But like, I feel like, if I was a player, I would probably not really want to. I mean, I feel like, if I'm just like a bread and butter player and, I just want to like get better at the game and practice and stuff like that. Like, I want to do it because, I want to use Dueling Book because like, that's the closest thing you'll get to, what's the word? Just a real life interaction, like there isn't like if you have a like something that comes up is like if I have a trigger effect in the graveyard, if my opponent gammas my monster and I have a Brotor in the graveyard, I can forget that in real life. I can forget that if I'm on Dueling, right? Whereas like on something like Omega, it would just be like, hey, you want to use this effect here? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure, that's probably a good idea. So like I feel like training yourself for like the competitive top tier level of gameplay, Dueling Books is as good as it gets for online.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of and kind of relates to you because it's burning a bit. It's like forgetting a Scarm Search, because you can forget Scarm Search if you're playing in real life. And I've seen games be won and lost because people forgot a Scarm Search. But but with an automatic simulator, it's kind of like a reminder at the end. It's like, hey, do you want to search for Scarm? And it and that can turn the tide. It might untrain you a little bit to kind of remember everything when you go to play in real life, but there's advantages and disadvantages to it too. But at least in that sense, it'll at least kind of force your opponent to bring their A game, because they're being reminded of effects that may not happen around, because that's a great way to get yourself better. I mean, you can make the argument for any side that being able to remember or forget Scarm could make you better or worse. I mean, you can make it, but that's definitely a thing that is a difference between online dueling and like playing in real life, as those reminders.
Yep, exactly. I just think like the closest real life experience you get is dueling, but I can completely understand the other side where people don't want to play on something where their opponent is like doesn't know like the basic rules, or like they're constantly like going back and forth and arguing over like minuscule irrelevant issues, and you have to get a judge. And whereas like on an automatic simulator, you don't have to deal with the social problems that come with Yu-Gi-Oh, right?
Yeah, you don't. And that when you're from playing in real life, that human errors are they happen a lot, especially if you go to locals. So kind of bring it to a different experience on playing on a digital automatic thing is definitely a different experience than playing in real life for sure. I will make that argument every time.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of like kind of like weirdly different formats, you probably have to go back to Dueling Book if you want to do your Dragoon wheel, but you also participated in the YouTuber Grand Championships, like ran by Simo. You're the current champion. You're a 2-time winner, and I know that there was a lot of like funky little formats. I think they were doing like the Pegasus format in your finals against House of Champs, Jonathan Moore. How was that whole tournament experience for you, being able to participate in that tournament?
Yeah, Simo's Yugioh Grand tournaments are something I look forward to every year, especially having been... I just remembered I'm a finalist 3 years in a row, and I'm the winner 2 years in a row. So that's actually pretty crazy. I don't know. Like, I wish I had this kind of record when it came to like real life competitive events. But yeah, the format switching and stuff was like a really good idea because it's a good way to like test your personal deck building skills and test your like just creativity as a player. Like I remember I played round 1, I think. I had to learn Frog FTK, which is like a 2010 deck, and 2010 I don't know. And I just never played that deck before, so like learning how to play like that deck was like really interesting. Because like if you think about it, like Yu-Gi-Oh has like so much history. It's got like 15 years plus of just like this bulk of like from format to format, these intricacies, these little like minor interactions, and the card pool, and the siding and the matchups. Like you can pick a format from any of the whole 15 years, and you can get invested into it for months. Mm-hmm. It's a great sort of because I just never played that format, never played that deck, and going through the opportunity to like learn that for the first time was like pretty. It was pretty fun. So I really liked playing Frog FTK. I don't think it was really fair playing a Frog FTK versus someone who just didn't have hand traps, because he was playing 2007. There isn't really any hand traps except like I think like DD Crow was like the only way he could have won, and he didn't draw it. I can't remember any of the other matchups though, but yeah, the Pegasus Challenge stuff was like pretty funny. We did like that charity match, me and Ruggles in like top 4. That was fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so like people just like donated to charity and then picked our cards in our deck for us. That was really fun. I'm trying to think like what else was hilarious. Oh yeah, so like when it comes to like deck building and stuff, you get given this custom format. It's really interesting to try and like do something from scratch. So like one of the formats was like play common only deck. It's like, well, damn, okay. You can only play cards that have a common printing. Well, it ended up settling on Goki, which surprisingly has the entire deck in common, and summoning 2 towers turn 1 is actually broken in a format that just doesn't have anything outside of common rarity.
Because I'm pretty sure you OTK'd your opponent. I think it was like round 1 that you played it. You OTK'd your opponent like right off the bat on your first turn.
Oh yeah,
it was like a 9-minute.
What's the word? A game like he set a rocket and passed, and then I killed him, and then game 2 he set a rocket and passed, and I killed him. If there was a pauper format ban list, like Goki would like be slaughtered on it. Like, oh my god, like two warriors is full combo. It's insane. Like it's crazy. So yeah, that format got broken in about 6 hours thanks to my stream.
And going back to Frog FTK, this was the time when Duelist Revolution just came out. So Effect Veiler came out, but people weren't really accustomed to hand traps during that time. So Effect Veiler wasn't really known until like later on when Frog FTK was happening. So I don't know if you got hit with an Effect Veiler at all during that time when you were playing Frog FTK.
No, I don't think. No, because like it was like cross format. So my opponent was playing 2007.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that's even worse.
Yeah, so it was even more unfair. Like I was playing Frog FTK, and he had to play like D Hero or something, or J Hero or whatever it's called, and there's literally no hand traps except DD Crow. I think. Yeah, so it was the only way he could win.
Yeah. When did you start playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
So like I played like the first like time it was released. So I was like 10 years old or something when the game like first came out, and I played like with the basic structure decks back in the day. And that was a fad at school, right? It's not really something you seriously do or seriously play.
Yeah, it's like Pokemon cards way back in the day. Everyone had them, but had no idea how to play them.
Yeah, so it was like a fad that just died out. And then I like randomly came up to my friends. We were playing like video games or whatever, like in 2013. And then like it was really funny because like his desk like moved or some shit, and out from behind falls this like stack of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like, oh my god, whoa, do you remember this? Like, yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh, this was amazing back in the day. And then we just started like building with this old stack of dusty cards that he had from years ago. And then we like started like looking into the game. Like, wait, hang on, do people still play this? Oh my god, people do still play this. Wow, okay, right. And then we slowly develop into like trying to find strategies. So I show up to locals. Skipping a lot of in between details here. I show up to locals with my agent structure deck, and I get dragon rulers. So
oh, good.
that was probably my first foray into like competitive Yu-Gi-Oh was back then.
And have you remained consistent since up until now playing Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, I mean, I made my YouTube channel in like 2014, and I started playing in like very late 2013. And I guess like even if like the game itself wasn't super keeping me enticed, like YouTube was keeping me somewhat busy, like being interested in like making like a video here or two or discussion on this thing. And like that was kind of like the birth of where I'm at today.
And is this something you do like full time now? Just doing the YouTube and the Twitch streaming?
Yeah, I finished. I was like I said, I was going to be a teacher, and I decided to scrap that because it just wasn't really for me. And when I came out of grad school, I was like, okay, well, YouTube, let's try and do this YouTube thing for a little bit. So I did it for like 2 months, 3 months, and I was like, okay, I mean, I can kind of sustain myself on this. And then I just kept going and kept going and kept going, and it turned out I never actually had to get a real job. I'm out here playing with, shiny cardboard up until now, so it's been pretty good. Can't complain. Being able to get up and do whatever I want. In terms of Yu-Gi-Oh is like really, really awesome. Having like the freedom to like choose my own hours, choose my own schedule, choose the content that I make, choose the content that I do, the people I work with, really as well. Like it's a real blessing, and it's great. I wouldn't trade this for the world.
And how many years were you into grad school before you decided to stop and just go to full-time, just a full-time influencer?
I don't know what it is. Like, I feel like part of me regrets, like, I should have at least like finished the course and get my qualification. But hey, maybe it wasn't meant to be, right? Because here I am now. I think, so there was like there's 3 main blocks to studying to become a teacher. I did the first one. I went out and I taught in like 2 schools and did like a semester there or whatever, or like a block there. Passed, did really well, got actually pretty good grades. And then I don't know, just like before the second block started after Christmas, I just didn't want to. Like I just felt like I didn't have that drive, I didn't have that desire to, and I had like some issues personally with like mental health and stuff, and I just needed a break, and decided to pursue YouTube instead.
How many hours a day would you say that you invest into like working on your YouTube and Twitch? Like a week? Like
a typical day starts with like I get up at like 10-ish, which is pretty nice.
Yes.
And then I'll like check emails and notifications and things like that. I'll start writing out a script or have some kind of plan in my mind of like a direction I want to take with the video. Even if I don't record it that day, at least I've got some like ideas going forward. If I do record, I'll keep going until like 2 p.m. or something. Probably get some breakfast and chill in between. And then after breakfast, I'll stream until like 7 or 8 at night. And that's usually my typical schedule of my day.
So what do you like to do like outside of Yu-Gi-Oh?
Well, I was really enjoying getting my health in check, before Corona. Like I was going to the gym every morning. So I'd get up, go to the gym, come home, YouTube, breakfast, Twitch. I had like a really, nice routine like that. And then, Corona happened and, the gyms are back open here like 2 weeks ago or something. But I honestly like kind of just too scared to go back, to tell you the truth. So, everything's just isolated. Me and my wife like hang out, we go out for dinner. We like eating out. We like going out for traveling, I guess. But, that kind of got like shut down as well recently. But yeah, just kind of keeping to ourselves. And yeah, like I play a lot of video games, I guess, outside of for fun. I play a lot of World of Warcraft, which I don't know if you've heard of, or I'm sure you have.
Wow. Yeah. Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Absolutely. I don't play it, but I'm highly aware of it.
I play a lot of that outside, and during my free time. There's Hearthstone. I played a lot of not like a lot, but like a decent amount of Hearthstone until I stopped like kind of recently. And I used to play a lot of Overwatch, but yeah, mostly gaming related.
Okay. So you're just a big gamer then. What kind of what systems do you own then?
I only play on PC.
You're
Master Race.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that at all. But how long have you been married for?
Oh shit. 2016.
Okay. Oh, it's roughly about 4 years then.
Yeah.
Very, very nice. Very nice. So we got. See, at least you got your kind of life together at this point in time. Now that you have like a wife, you have like you get to do like Yu-Gi-Oh for a full time, which I'm pretty sure is something you could only have imagined of before, but now you finally get to do it. And is it safe to say that you're doing pretty well right now, all things considered?
Yeah, no complaints. Like it's been as lucky as I am, for a lot of people, this probably might have been the worst year of their life. For me, it's been almost quite the opposite. Like, breaking records personally on my YouTube, hitting 2K subs recently on Twitch was like massive as well. It's been a really, really good period in time for me. So I feel very lucky to have the people around me in the community that I've got. And, I just genuinely wouldn't be here without them, so I'm always grateful to that.
Yeah, because it's the people out there that like really help you like build your brand and get you up there. So you can't take your fans or your subs for granted, because they're the ones that make you. So it's really nice that as we've seen some like toxicity in some of the Yu-Gi-Oh community, but it's not a good, like Zodiac Duels for example. But there's a lot of great representation. That's just a bad representation of what the actual Yu-Gi community is, because I've made so many friends. My best friends doesn't play anymore, but I met my best friend through Yu-Gi-Oh! So my closest friends are through Yu-Gi-Oh! It's really great to have this kind of community behind you in this game as well.
See, it's funny you mentioned Zodiac as like a negative thing there, but the funny thing is that like a lot of my channel growth and stuff came from Zodiac. Before I started YouTube, I joined Zodiac, and then ever since I've been going. Like growing and meeting different people and making enemies with different people, but also like finding friends and stuff like through Zodiac. Like that's how me and John became pretty cool. How champs like was through Zodiac. It's when you have a group of like 70,000 Yu-Gi-Oh players, you're bound to have like the absolute like bottom of the barrel like stains on humanity, but you're also gonna have like some really nice, awesome people that I've met there.
That I can definitely agree on for sure, because like I haven't got that so much with Zodiac because I don't interact with it too much. I just like to follow it because I sometimes like to watch what goes on. But I used to moderate for Pojo.com, which was like one of the biggest Yu-Gi-Oh forums way back when, until Facebook came along.
Pojo mod, so put that on your CV.
Yep. I am a former Pojo mod for Yu-Gi-Oh. So, and I've met a lot of people through that forum as well. And of course, you're gonna get your share of people who are like jerks and like people you don't want to be around, but you find a lot of people there that are also good. So it is true in the sense for Zodiac Duels as well. I just haven't really tried to socialize myself so much on that as much as maybe you have, because again, you've said you've made a bunch of friends on it, and I can absolutely believe that, because again, like with every community, there's going to be some form of like maybe toxicity or at least some form of like negative connotation you can kind of throw at it, but there's definitely some positive in there as well, especially with a group that size.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'm really glad to see you kind of take off, because like we have a lot in North America, but like we don't hear a lot of at least in North America, you don't hear a lot of like European like celebrities kind of go around. So and watching your videos, like I've always had a hoot watching them, because I'm a big comedy guy myself. I love watching it. That's really all I watch when it comes to TV shows, and I watch like some. I don't watch a whole lot of TV, but watching your channels is like a nice, refreshing change of pace, because there's a lot of people out there that just kind of like, as we mentioned much earlier in the broadcast, that kind of just like go like stale, and they just want to get like to push the product through. They don't have like their niche, they don't have their persona or whatnot, as opposed to you. Like, I think you have it down to a T at this point in time. And I think that's really contributed to your success at this point.
Yeah, so far so good. I think I'm really happy with the position I'm in and the direction I've taken. And, you know, I've got my flagship series, my flagship, you know, sort of content that people want to see and come back for on the regular. And, you know, I think it's been, you know, a really good year for me, I think.
Yeah, I can agree. There's definitely been some good in this year for people. Maybe not most people, but there's definitely been some good. I mean, I started this podcast like 3 months ago, so I mean that's a big thing for me. So I'm glad I was able to get this run along. And then as for you, you're starting to like just kind of go over the top now for your YouTube and Twitch. So that's really nice to see that you know you're finally getting like what you deserve, basically. Like you put in all the work, it's finally paying off.
Yeah, yep, for sure.
So what's next in line now for you as we move forward, especially with this pandemic happening? What are your plans for Yu-Gi-Oh?
I don't really know. Like, I hope the game just doesn't die because of this or something.
Yeah,
probably not. But you know, I can't wait to go back to like, you know, YCSs and stuff, and you know, hopefully commentate those again and do those. You know, do some set reviews and things like that, and yeah, just continue like from where we left off. Like I really miss like the competitive aspect, you know, and as serious as people can take online, sometimes it's just not the same as a big, you know, 2,000 man event of like big sweaty neck beards that walking around and just trying to get their Winamats done and their LCQs for the you know, get their world's points. Like, you know what I mean? It's just not the same. Like I'm really, really, really looking forward to it. And I'm excited for a big major like competitive event to go down. You know, I just can't wait. So attending those again would be great. Personally, I don't know. I think like one of the next steps I need to take is like merch at some point. I think a lot of people really, really want me to make merch, and I guess I should try do something about that. Yeah, I think that's like one of the things people really want me to do. So maybe that'll be like a couple of the next few steps I have to take.
Well, it's not too hard now to do merch, at least, because there are several websites out there that will just, if you just submit a design, they can like print it for you on like a t-shirt or whatnot, and you can sell merch that way. I mean, my girlfriend, she drew my logo, and we just put that on like a website. We put it on Redbubble, and we put it on TeePublic. We put it on a couple sites, and you know, people can purchase merch then. So it's not that hard. It's just a matter of just getting a design at that point in time. So I don't know if you can use your Farfa logo or not, because I don't know if that's trademarked by Konami or not. But if you can, that's definitely something, a route you could take to get into merch. It's not that difficult so long as you have the design.
Yep, exactly. It's a pretty simple process. It's just you know, sitting down and actually getting it. Getting it going, you know?
Of course. And that's always the hardest part, is just actually sitting down and give yourself the time to do it. But once you get going, it's not that bad.
Yep. We shall
quickly that. And what about plans for your YouTube and Twitch? Were anything different going to happen as we move forward, or anything new, or is it just going to be the same old stuff for now?
No, I think people kind of like what they come for. I think people enjoy the you know, every month or so I'll have like a big event, like a Table 500 evening. I think people like coming to hang out. I think people like watching the ban list reactions live. I think people just, you know what they're getting, and they're kind of like okay with that, I suppose. So just, you know, refining everything and making sure that everything keeps flowing to what makes this community good. You know, it's just keeping up the what's the word, consistency, you know.
Yep. And absolutely that. And again, it's been a pleasure to watch your videos, and I really thank you again for taking the time out of your busy schedule to, you know, talk with me for a good hour and a half. I really appreciate that.
No problem. It's been fun. It's great, and I hope, you know, you get like more big names and stuff on your channel to really get a deep dive into who they are. I think that's a really cool niche to have.
Yeah, and that's what it is. So like, I'm capitalizing on my journalism degree to really get the hard-hitting facts and just know a little bit more about everybody. I mean, I'm sure a lot of people that are listening to this podcast, you know, may have found out something new about you that they never knew, and that's kind of the point of why I'm doing this as well. And to have fun with it. I like having conversations with people, and it was nice having a conversation with you, because I don't think I don't know if you ever heard of me before I even sent you that request to do this thing. So, it's like we're talking to a complete stranger pretty much at this point in time, but here we are. We got a nice, good, long conversation.
Yeah, it's been really fun. And, I've seen like all the big names you have on your channel, and I think that you're building up a good repertoire of people that, people want to listen to and, hear from. So it's super exciting. Good job.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's just I wanted to bring like a nice, refreshing change of pace, because you hear about so much about podcasts. It's a big thing, but we never had like something that was just that stayed consistent, or rather like really was that successful. And I'm just kind of hoping that my journalism background can really bring that all together now and finally get something going. And again, I'm glad that you can be part of the growing process, as I keep evolving as well. And as we said, we've all seen you evolve into like the big person that you are now, and it's fantastic to see. This is the kind of the content I love to have, and hopefully I can kind of replicate that kind of success moving forward.
Yeah, awesome. I wish you all the best, awesome. And I hope it works out. Just stick to the journalism and not the geography,
Yeah, really, yeah. Jesus. Just had to get that one in. Any shout outs you want to give before I send you off?
Nah, not really. Shout outs to my community. Shout outs to my subs for always being there and playing Among Us with me every night and coming out and watching the videos. I hope you get Distant Coder next. He's a really big, good up and coming Yu-Gi-Oh streamer right now. He's really kicked in to the scene, and I hope you get him involved at some point. He's a really cool guy. I think you'd have a good time talking to him.
Yeah, you're gonna have to link me his profile and everything after we're done talking here. I'll definitely look into it and maybe have him on sometime.
All right, sure. All right, take care.
Wonderful. All right, thank you so much. And that is Nadeau Mizuni, aka Farfa, coming on to the Gate Expectations podcast. Thank you so much for coming in, Nadeau. Thank you so much for coming on.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. For more information, check out the Gate Expectations podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Patreon, Twitter, and Spotify.